You know what? I should make a top game list of 2018. What's the worst that could...
I've lost control of my life.
So, 2018. It's been an interesting year for games and gaming, and although the year itself wasn't all that great to me in other regards, at least with gaming, it was decent. And since it's still like January of 2019, I figured, what the hell? I might as well try something new, right? Now you may be wondering why I'm doing a top 8 instead of a top 10. Like that isn't a trend when I do a top list, I sometimes go against the usual numbers, but oh well. So what qualifies this list? I don't know, games I really enjoyed in 2018, I guess. That said, if you find my choice to be puzzling and wish to complain about that in the comments below, go for it! Opinions are amazing things, aren't they? If you want to give me your top 8 games, then go for it in the comments, I think it'd be fun. Okay, so not for naught, this entry is cheating since this game didn't come out officially in 2018, but hear me out, as this game really helped me out in this very dark time of my life. If you followed my Twitter or my life, my father passed away in October 2018, and I found myself getting extremely depressed when I was given this game as a gift from my Switch. And during the week before my father's funeral, whatever free time I was left with, I played this game or on the plane ride that took me back to my hometown, and I found myself relating with the characters in the game, how I could relate to the woes of May, the cat who was going back home after dropping out of college in an attempt to save her sanity. I could relate to Bee, dealing with her life being stagnant at a dead-end job with her father not being the best person, and I could go on about how I relate to the characters. But with the main theme of how the world can be a dark and cruel place, and how even going back to your roots in childhood won't change that fact, life will change. You will lose people who you are precious with, and you'll have to come to accept that the harsh world that we live in is like that at all. Point is, while this game didn't come out initially in 2018, it certainly left its impact and helped me get through a hard time after losing such a major part of my life. Besides, the Switch version came out in 2018, and technically I can put it on here. Point is, I like the game. So, Smash Brothers! What can I say? With the huge roster, the smooth mechanics, as well as how beautiful the game looks, I can say there's a lot of polish and shine with the latest incarnation of Smash. Hey, not gonna lie, I'm hyped for some of the DLC characters. But really, while I'm no expert on the game, I found a lot of what they include to be really entertaining and fun, like the World of Light. And while I know there's a lot of people who don't particularly like how the new adventure mode was being used, I still enjoyed it and loved seeing how there were several spirits you had access to, as well as how you can equip various other spirits in order to boost your abilities and add boosts to your attack or handle hazards on the field. It gave a little bit more in-depth to the actual gameplay, and I have to admit, with the spirits and how they use the characters and items and what abilities they had, it was a nice little touch. Then there's online. Well, the only reason why I didn't put it up higher on the list is, well, fighting games aren't really my cup of tea. But even I have to admit a game like this deserves to be put on any best list, mine included.
When the light is running low and the shadows start to grow, and the places that you know seem like fantasy, there's a light inside your soul that's still shining in the cold, with the truth, the promise in our hearts. Don't forget, I'm with you in the dark.
Yeah, I have nothing but trash. But really, I wonder if this should even really count since it's a chaptered game, but still, came out during a time that was hard for me, got to playing it and loved the evolution of the gameplay from the Undertale. Heck, even having the bullet hell work more in actual overworld and adding a bit more traditional spin to the RPG formula was actually entertaining. Gonna love how the sprite work looks a lot more polished from Undertale, and the music itself, while having elements from the original Undertale soundtrack in it, certainly does have its charms, and the characters in the game are really charming. I mean, how do you say no to Lancer's what the fuck face? However, there are a few reasons why I neglected from this being higher. For one, it's too short, and it's the first of many chapters. I realize that's probably an intentional design choice, and there's probably going to be a lot more content in the coming days, but it was a good experience that didn't last too long. There's also how it rides a bit too much on the coattails of Undertale. I get that's the point, but there's a lot of things that it takes from Undertale. Even when you download the game, it'll say things like,
You accept everything from now on.
not gonna get me this time. This is stuff we've seen before, Toby. So this is going to sound a bit obscure, but this game, Ninjin Clash of Carrots, caught my attention around my birthday last year, and honestly, it was an extremely fun game. Other than the fact it was on the Switch, and I could play it on the go, and you got something that I can sink my teeth into. But what is Ninjin? Well, it's a beat-em-up game where you play as the titular Ranbat Ninja, Ninjin, or Akai the Ninja Fox, in order to save the carrots that were stolen from your village by mole people. Yes. I am serious. The gameplay has you running across a moving screen fighting enemies using various kinds of weapons that you can equip that can range from the practical to the, I think Final Fantasy called, they want their Buster Sword back. You can even add masks and secondary weapons as well as get special attacks thrown into the mix. Not to mention the gameplay, so around with the Japanese mythology and can be extremely funny with its characters and how they react to the situations. It's got that retro sprite look to it and it makes the game look really beautiful as you play it on the screen. All in all, it's a game that I would highly recommend, especially if you got a friend who's looking to play since it's got co-op in it. It's an underappreciated gem of a game, and I will sing this game's praises to the heavens, and nothing will—
Command, all clear. Damn it!
Robert knocks down.
So one thing that a lot of people wouldn't know is I'm a huge fan of the Hitman series, and I gotta say the current generation of Hitman games have really been a return to form, and luckily for me they released a brand new installment for me to put onto this list, simply called Hitman 2. If you ever played these games, half the fun is in the AI in the games and as well as how ridiculous it is, how they react, and how you can manipulate the characters and even the targets if you know what you're doing. There's even some funny moments in the game if you know how to find them.
It's insulated.
Huh. Imagine that. I guess it would have to be if you're supposed to wear it for hours and hours every day.
Oh, and there's the ragdoll. Man, I love it when games do that. It just makes it all the more fun. Oh, and apparently 47 can bend physics to his whim. Point is, Hitman 2 is good.
Providence.
Like a couple of the other installments on here, 2018 has been a year where we've been getting some really good sequels and additions to various games and titles. And of course, we've got the stylized return of Mega Man. I mean, with the train wreck of Mighty No. 9, almost all hope for the Blue Bomber was gone. However, in 2018, we finally got a return to form. While it isn't a long game, it certainly is enjoyable with its tight controls, the eccentric robot masters, and the wonderful level design, all the telltales of the classics that are in this game. But that's not all there is. There's also the double gear system, where you can either slow down time or boost Mega Man's power, both of which can be useful depending on the situation, although I'd be lying if I found the speed gear to be more useful in my gameplay to help with the platforming. However, what also made the boss battles interesting was that they had access to one of the double gear systems, which once you got to a certain health point, the robot master or boss will access it and make the battle a lot harder. Personally, my favorite gear system was the one from Blockman. I don't know, it's just a huge shift in the gameplay where you have this little tiny, somewhat cute little robot, then all of a sudden, I do wish there was more of that in the game, but hey, still pretty neat. And man, I didn't even touch on the levels and how there are times where the robot master's powers can affect the stages. Well, the game doesn't do too much outside the double gear system. That's pretty much what Mega Man was before he went silent. Just some classic side-scrolling shoot 'em fun.
I'm alive.
Spider-Man, probably one of, if not the most iconic comic book heroes of our time. This year has practically been a year of the Spider, with a pair of great pieces of Spider-Man related material, and one that,
I got that
The latest being Into the Spider-Verse movie, which came out late last year, but before we had that one of the best superhero-based games, and of course it'd be the Webheads title. With the extremely smooth combat and slick web-slinging, you can actually get the genuine feel of being the Webhead as he fights crime and saves New York. The game is well crafted, looks good, and while there are a few hiccups here and there, and while the story didn't exactly hit well with me, it's still a good game, and one that I poured a ton of time and effort into in order to get the combat system down and unlock everything. If you want to see more on the game, well, I did a review which you should watch later. But for now, it's time for my pick of the #1 game for 2018. I know, this seems like really unfair, but what can I say? My list, my choice. Deal with it. I've been a diehard Spyro fan for years. I've been here for the best, and for the less than stellar. So imagine my joy when getting a full-on overhaul of the original trio of games. I actually do have something in the works for the games coming soon, but for now, let's talk about what I really enjoyed about the games, and what I thought these games are my #1 pick. Not only did they manage to recreate the original games with brand new graphics to make the game a lot more amazing, as well as having tight controls and make the games fun and creative, they actually added more to the game. Not much, mind you, but still something like having sparks actually point out to any jewels you may have missed in your journey. Doesn't do a pinpoint accuracy, but helps you out in the right way, and that can be pretty helpful, but it doesn't hold your hand. The games have that charm and really hit with the music and gameplay, as well as making the worlds extremely beautiful and alive. And frankly, the graphical overhaul makes playing the games all the more enjoyable, and to newcomers, it's a great way to introduce generations who weren't around to play the original Spyro trilogy. But in any case, the games 3 and 1 are what I consider to be my top games of 2018. It's a bit of a cheat, but considering that you can get all 3 games in one, I decided to just mix the 3 together. They're just that addictive and keep me coming back again and again with whatever free time I have in order to complete the games. So that makes Spyro my #1 pick of 2018. But what do you guys think? Do you think I'm full of it? Do you think that my choices rock? Or do you think I missed something? Please let me know in the comments below and tell me what games you loved playing in 2018. 2019. It's a new year and a chance to reinvent myself. While I'm not the greatest YouTuber, far from it, I do want to keep putting out content for you guys as long as I'm able to. And I want to make it quality content too. 2018 was such a mess. Too many bad things happened to me during it, and it changed my life a little bit for the worse. 2019, it's a new chance, and I hope you guys remain with me as we revamp the channel going forward. I'm TrashKamen. I'm SkullKamen. I am MangaKamen. And remember to examine your fandom. Thanks for watching.